If the New Orleans Pelicans go into the 2025 and 2026 season with David Griffin and Willie Green leading the charge again, just expect them to crash and burn. So we're going to break that down right now on the Pelicans Scoop. Cue my music.
This is the Pelicans Scoop with Jordan Kitchens, breaking down everything under the sun about your New Orleans Pelicans. Smash that like button, leave a comment, and subscribe to stay on top of your Pels content. Now, running point, here's Jordan.
What is good, YouTube? Welcome back to another edition of the Pelicans Scoop. I am your host with the most, Jordan Kitchens, and ladies and gentlemen, it's time to have a conversation. Again, I feel like we've had this conversation. Well, we had this conversation about Willie Green, and Mr. Old, the slimy pig himself, David Griffin. I've mentioned a couple times in videos in the past, like, you know what? The real problem of the situation is David Griffin. The real problem of the situation, no matter how you guys want to break it down, from the trades to the not making moves to you're ultimately losing the Anthony Davis trade and having nothing to show for it. And for context, let's just look back at the Anthony Davis trade. So the Pelicans received Brandon Ingram, who's now in the Raptors, Lonzo Ball, who's now in the Chicago Bulls, Josh Hart, who's now New York Knicks, 3 first-round picks, who ended up being Jackson Hayes, who's playing with the Lakers, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, who's on the Minnesota Timberwolves, Didi Louzada from Brazil, not in the NBA anymore. Good job, Griff. You sure do got an eye. Herb Jones, second-round steal. That's good, man. You can get a guy the second round, but the top 3 first-round picks, you can't hit, really. Dyson Daniels, good pick, but unfortunately, he plays for the Atlanta Hawks and a pick swap. So that is what you received in the Anthony Davis trade. At the time, what seems like a haul, which it still would have been a haul if you was able to keep these guys around. But it's more deeper than an Anthony Davis trade. Let's think about some of the cast of characters that David Griffin has brought into the organization over the years. Can I interest you in Eric Bledsoe, Garrett Temple, Devontae Graham, Steven Adams? Can I interest you in some of those pieces, maybe? No, you're not hungry? Oh, okay. Well, look, if you don't like those pieces, what about a Josh Richardson? Okay, well, if you don't like this guy, we'll just get him out of here. We'll get him out of here. But to get him out of here, here's 4 second-round picks to get rid of Devontae Graham. Here's 4 second-round picks to try and grab Josh Richardson, who ended up staying, a 3-month rental for Josh Richardson, who ended up leaving you in the offseason in the first place. But I think Bruce Brown might follow suit with that. Speaking of Bruce Brown and Kelly Olynyk, do they even play for the Pelicans, or are they ever going to be introduced to the team? Or maybe that they will while you're watching this video. I don't know what's going on with the Pelicans, guys. But we're just here talking about David Griffin. And ultimately, when I think of David Griffin's tenure with the New Orleans Pelicans, I kind of think about this book that we read back in elementary school. It's a book called Animal Farm. Some of you guys might be very familiar with the book. They might have, I don't know if they still read it in school, but it's called Animal Farm. And basically, the book is about these animals that rise up against the humans and take over the world, basically, right? And it's led charged by these pigs. These pigs, they sit there and rally everybody up and become head of the movement, because it's kind of like a communist type. I don't know how to the synoptics of it, but I just remember the pigs. That's what I think about David Griffin. Like, he rose up through the ranks thinking that he was going to save this franchise, and ultimately ended up being the guy that tears it down. He ultimately ended up being the main guy that you thought brought hope and like change and what he was going to do, and ended up being the complete opposite. He's just nothing but a slimy pig. Slimy little pig. That's what I think of what this situation has been since 2019. And speaking of 2019, here's a crazy stat I'll do for you guys. So teams to win at least one playoff series since 2019. The Warriors, the Rockets, the Trailblazers, the Nuggets, the Lakers, the Clippers, the Jazz, the Suns, the Mavericks, the Grizzlies, the Thunder, and the Timberwolves. Notice a pattern is all Western Conference teams, okay? Teams who haven't won a playoff series. The Kings, who at least, I don't know what to do about the Kings. That's bad even being the same breath of air with them. And the San Antonio Spurs, whose future is looking extremely bright with De'Aaron Fox, Victor Wembanyama, Stephon Castle. So you ain't got to worry about them being you ain't got to worry about them being on there. The last 6 years led up to this point to have all these talented pieces. That's how you tank correctly. And the final team the New Orleans Pelicans. So in the 6 years that David Griffin has been here, we have accomplished goose egg. Play-in champs. You're the play-in champs. You're in the play-in. The Pelicans are in the seasonal play-in. But the ultimate real reason why I'm even making this video is because I watched the Pelicans last night play the Oklahoma City Thunder. A team that has been, pretty much bottom feeders the last 7-8 years trying to gather their pieces. They make the Shai Gilgeous-Alexander trade, right? And then, you draft J-Dub. You're bad enough to get Chet. So a team that pretty much was the motto of how to tank correctly. Sam Presti has been amazing with hoarding first-round picks and swindling people and just doing what a competent franchise does. And just seeing the talent level. Granted, you play without C.J. McCollum, you're hurt. All right, no C.J., no DeJounte, obviously. But at the same time, the talent differential from the Pelicans to the Oklahoma City Thunder is unbelievable. It's like they're not even playing. It's like the Pelicans are playing college ball and the Oklahoma City Thunder play NBA basketball. But this has been a team over the last 10 years. I'm going to say 10-year stretch. They have been bad, got good, and have just left you in the dust. Their guys are so much better, from the Chet Holmgrens to the Isaiah Hartensteins, Caruso, Lou Dort, J-Dub, Shea, Wiggins. They got Wiggins. What's that? Roby? Not Isaiah Roby. Isaiah, some dude that shoot. I can't think of his name. They used to have a light-skinned guy named Isaiah Roby. That's not the guy I'm thinking of. Isaiah Joe. All right, from all those pieces, they just show how it's supposed to be done and what the Pelicans are not supposed to be doing. This team bench gone. Jordan Hawkins has not lived up to no type of expectations, but also at the same time, you're in a terrible situation. Your coach can't teach a fish how to swim. So that doesn't help you. And your GM is doing a terrible job at even constructing a roster. We have one big man on this team. Well, really two. I guess you want to call Carlo big. Regardless. Two guys. I like Misi, so there's not no Misi this, but he's still raw. He's young. I mean, it is what it is. I ain't saying nothing new. Ain't saying nothing out of the ordinary, but it's just a failure on how this team is constructed compared to OKC. OKC, the game was over with maybe in the first 10 minutes of the game. Over. It was over in the first 10 minutes. Over. That's how much better OKC is. Even granted, they are the number one team. I think OKC has less losses than the Pelicans have wins. Like, the Pelicans have 12 wins. OKC has 9 losses. Ridiculous. So that's why I'm making this video, because this is just a complete failure on David Griffin. His tenure here needs to be over with. Obviously, you don't fire GMs in the middle of the season like the NFL does. They have to clean house. If we get a top 3 pick, you have to clean house and bring some type of coach that can help these guys before they leave. Before Zion, look, I know how y'all feel iffy about Zion, whatever. For Zion and Trey, I'm just can put them both in there before they leave. Simple as that. It's been a complete failure. Just go look back at it. And honestly, it's not even the Brandon Ingram trade. I might have been able to save Griff if you would have made a trade a year ago, maybe 2. Might have been able to save you, Griff, but it's over with, man. Sayonara. You might have been able to do that. So this next GM and the next head coach, they need to come in here. They got to clean this up, right? You're expecting not to have DeJounte for the foreseeable future, maybe until January, February 26. So you don't even expect to start the season with him torn Achilles. Don't even expect that. You might need to get rid of CJ and get a point guard, trade CJ, get a point guard. Maybe even trade Herb. Right, depending on what this first-round pick we get. Depending if you get Dylan Harper, Cooper Flagg, Ace Bailey, whatever. Depending on whoever you get in there, you got to find a way to get some type of front court depth. You got to find a way to even create some type of depth. Because this bench is not NBA level. A couple of these guys shouldn't even be in the NBA. Shouldn't even be. Compared to how the bench was last year with your Najee Marshalls and your Dyson Daniels and Jose is Jose. Trey Murphy was off the bench last year. How depleted this bench. The bench comes in and gives you no juice. Zero juice. And that is a roster construction failure. No matter how you want to do it. Like, Willie can only do so much. I know I harp on Willie and I do all this, but he can only do so much. It ain't like he can do a good job. So you're giving him You're already giving a chef that can't cook bad ingredients. What the hell do you expect to happen? Simple. So I appreciate you guys for sticking for another edition of the Pelican Scoop. I have been your host with the most, Jordan Kitchens, man. I just hope, I mean, you're 12 in a million, so it doesn't. You're 12 in a million, so who cares? But we're just trying to see maybe I know I can't find nothing optimistic. So y'all just comment down below anything y'all want to talk about, anything y'all want to see. It's I mean it's hard to just come on here and just be like, yeah, what's new? The team stinks. So thank you guys for sticking for another edition of Pelican Scoop. I'm out, man. Peace.